What up, world? Established Rich coming right back at you. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say this right now. When Jimmy Kimmel walked on that stage fighting back tears, it was supposed to be his strongest moment. But instead, it showed us just how divided America really is.
Walking out to a thunderous standing ovation overnight, Jimmy Kimmel returning to late-night TV after a week off the air.
Thank you. Anyway, as I was saying before I was interrupted.
Kimmel's show was suspended amid apparent threats from the Trump administration following the host's comments last Monday about the ideology of the alleged shooter in Charlie Kirk's murder. Growing emotional, Kimmel now clarifying his remarks.
I do want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it, nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual. That was really the opposite of the point I was trying to make, but I understand that to some that felt either ill-timed or unclear, or maybe both. And for those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset. If the situation was reversed, there's a good chance I'd have felt the same way.
He also praised Kirk's widow during this past weekend's memorial for her husband.
On Sunday, Erica Kirk forgave the man who shot her husband. She forgave him. That is an example we should follow.
But Kimmel was also back telling jokes, taking a jab at President Trump.
You almost have to feel sorry for him. He did his best to cancel me. Instead, he forced millions of people to watch the show. That backfired bigly.
After the taping of the show, President Trump weighing in overnight, blasting ABC's decision to put Kimmel back on the air, saying his talent was never there. Why would they want someone back who does so poorly, who's not funny? In a statement, Disney said Kimmel's show had been suspended to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. Kimmel shedding light on what happened behind the scenes.
I was not happy when they pulled me off the air on Wednesday. I did not agree with that decision, and I told them that, and we had many conversations. I shared my point of view. They shared theirs. We talked it through, and at the end, even though they didn't have to, they really didn't have to. This is a giant company. We have short attention spans, and I am a tiny part of the Disney Corporation. They welcomed me back on the air, and I thank them for that.
The crowd stood and cheered. They gave him a hero's welcome. He came out joking, talking about Tylenol and autism. But after 6 minutes, the laughs turned to tears. He said it was never his intention to make fun of Charlie Kirk's murder, and then he broke down in front of everybody. Now let's call it what it is. The right wing said this was an apology. They said it was contrition, a man on his knees. The left wing said they saw betrayal. They didn't want tears, they wanted strength. And in the end, once again, nobody is satisfied. But here's the part people forget. Jimmy Kimmel is not an activist. He's not a politician. He's a late night talk show host. His job is to tell jokes, to make people laugh. And people expected him to stand like a statesman, when in reality, he's just an entertainer. Now let's talk about power, Hollywood power. Over 400 actors signed a petition to bring Jimmy Kimmel back. Do you understand how serious that is? Hollywood runs on talent. And if the talent refuses to play ball, Hollywood studios get scared. Those actors have leverage and they used it. Without that support, I don't believe Jimmy Kimmel would have been back on the air. Kimmel knew he had to walk a tightrope. He could not come back and triple down. But he also knew he couldn't come back and wave a white flag. So what did he do? He split the difference. A little strength, a little sorrow. He cried to show he was human, but he joked to show he wasn't backing down. And in the process, he tried to make everybody happy. But here's the truth. When you try to please everybody, you please nobody. So what does that really mean? It means America is still at war with itself. Free speech versus cancel culture. Religion versus entertainment. One man's joke is another man's outrage. And Jimmy Kimmel became the center of that firestorm. But don't get it twisted. This was not about Charlie Kirk. This was about power. The power of Hollywood, the power of politics, and the power of division. And Kimmel stood there in tears, not because he wanted to, but because he had to. Because this is the game. And the game will always demand you bend, even if you don't break. So what did we really see? We saw a man trying to survive. A comedian caught between two worlds. A nation so divided that even tears can't bring it together. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the sad reality of Jimmy Kimmel's return. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe, Established Rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.